The new public housing model for prime locations could include restrictions like levies for first sellers. National Development Minister Desmond Lee says this is one of the ideas the ministry has been discussing to keep public housing inclusive and affordable. In an exclusive interview with CNA, he also touched on the topic of more robust environmental protection in the wake of incidents like the land clearance mistake in Kranji. Isabel Lim with more.
There's been talk about a new housing model. Could you tell us a little bit about how this new housing model for prime locations will look like, and also how these prime locations are identified?
Over the last few months, and in fact since my predecessor Lawrence Wong's time, we've been discussing this, we've been debating this, we've been consulting people, and a whole range of ideas have surfaced. When the first owners sell it, maybe you may need to have a levy to ensure that the additional subsidies that the government gives out to keep it affordable do not result in an excessive windfall. Maybe you should restrict who can buy on the resale market. Maybe based on income, based on wealth indicators. Maybe you restrict or extend the minimum occupation period, or don't allow, resale or rental, for example. Or you say sell back to HDB. There will be long-term implications. We want to make sure the system works. We'll of course adjust it along the way if necessary, but we'll study, we'll consult, and then we hope to put out more details and get people's views on that.
Following the land clearance episode in Kranji, are there any plans to make environmental impact assessments compulsory in the future?
Where the criteria of a site is met, then those studies will be made compulsory. They already are. All right, it's just that for different sites, there are different impacts that we need to look at. So for example, if it's a brownfield site in the middle of a city, it's a demolished building, I think the key focus will be on, say, air quality, on noise, on traffic impact. If that site is a complete brownfield site, then I think the environmental impact assessment may not be focused on biodiversity, for instance. So there is already a legislative frame, but it provides for flexibility. It enables regulatory agencies with professional expertise in each of these areas, including the environment, to come in and to impose the necessary studies. But what we've been studying since last year are on a couple of new fronts. One would be whether we should be centralizing the calling of environmental consultancies. That's one, rather than have everyone call their own. Our approach to conservation in Singapore is very different from that in larger countries. Because our ecosystems are within the city, we look at things slightly differently from larger countries.